All right, what's up, Sam? Welcome back to the channel. Nice to have you back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's all right, man. It's a new year, so I want to quickly hear your top three picks. What are you thinking is going to do the best in the next leg of this bull market? I want to hear a big cap, a mid cap, and a tiny, dirty degen coin.
Okay. I have two dirty degen coins, but we'll start with the big cap. First of all, though, I do want to say I want to hear your picks later, too. So we'll probably put both of them in the same video here. But I think you have to start with Bitcoin. Like, it's just so obvious, right? The big cap.
Boring.
Boring Bitcoin. But you will sleep well at night. you will not get stressed out with Bitcoin. You know that's going to be around for the next cycle. I don't know when you're going to release this, but in 8 days from the recording, inauguration day is happening. The market's actually going to be closed too. I don't know if you knew that. The stock market's going to be closed that day for MLK Jr. Day, at least in the US. So like everyone that wants to trade around inauguration, they're only trading Bitcoin and crypto for the 3 days ahead of and the inauguration day as well. So there's going to be a lot of volatility based on whether Trump creates a strategic Bitcoin reserve or not that day. But I think we have to look long term. Like there are just so many companies that are buying Bitcoin, so many large hedge funds that are buying Bitcoin. It's obvious that all the Trumps are very bullish on Bitcoin, whether they create a strategic reserve day one or not. So you have to look at Bitcoin as like the thing that's going to weigh down your portfolio, I think. I know a lot of people in real estate too that are like trying to sell properties to get into Bitcoin. And with some of the wildfires and stuff happening in California and earlier this year with, or last year with the problems in Florida, I think it was a hurricane. Like I think that kind of thing pushes more people to Bitcoin because there's so many issues that come up with real estate, even like prime real estate. It can be a big problem. So yeah, I think people are turning towards Bitcoin. It's something you just buy, throw it in your cold storage, throw it in your safe or at the bank or wherever you put it. And yeah, I think that's just going to continue. That's going to be a trend for the future. So Bitcoin, big cap. Okay. Everyone has heard of it. No one really cares. Let's move on to the mid. One crypto that's just done so well this cycle is Sui. I feel like it's the new kid on the block. Maybe a little bit boring too. I know that you talk about Sui a lot, but like it's still so volatile. It's fun still. Like you can still get in at good prices because it takes regular 30% drops every 2 or 3 weeks. We saw a 20% drop just the other day, then it rebounded right away. It's still, I don't even know if you'd consider it a mid cap. It's kind of a big cap now, top 20, but it's what, a $15 billion market cap. I know both of us were talking about it around $1-ish, maybe even before for you. You can trade it really easily. It's fun to trade because it's so volatile. Also, if you're considering it hitting maybe like what Dogecoin or Solana hit last cycle, like you're looking at maybe 75 billion to 100 billion this cycle, which still has a lot of gas left in the tank. Then could do like another 5-6x. I think that would be really bullish. But I would not be surprised if in 6 months or a year we woke up and Sui all of a sudden popped up 30% to like $25 or $30. So being so strong and so many people loving it, I think you have to consider Sui for a mid to large cap. Obviously, Solana also has just taken a nice pullback recently, and it hasn't done anything, which I like investing in cryptos that have a lot of usage but haven't done anything recently. Obviously, a lot of people love Solana too. So yeah, it's down what 30% from its peak, something like that. So I think eventually Solana will pump pretty hard too, especially if there's a Solana ETF. I think that's probably one of the future ETFs coming here pretty soon. And yeah, let's get into the dirty degen coins. I might take these from you. I hope you're not going to think about these. I know you've talked about them on the channel, but one WEEX token has pumped up 100% pretty much overnight this week, which if you don't know WEEX, I think Connor and I both are affiliates for it. We'll leave links, or I'll at least leave a link to it in my video, but it went up 100%. It's an exchange token. So obviously it's dependent on the exchange itself, how well they do and what kind of mechanisms they give to incentivize people to buy it. But it went up like 100%. It's usually not volatile, but it's still like 1/25th the size of BitGet token. That's like the fully diluted valuation. So if Weeks can grow into like one of the larger exchanges, which I know a lot of people promote them and talk about them, you know, you're still looking at really good returns this cycle, and the circulating supply I think is more important during a bull market than the fully diluted supply, because like there can be supply shock. So that is 1/100th the size of BitGet token. So, you know, you could see some big pumps like this where someone talks about it for the first time, or some whale buys it and it pumps up 100% like overnight, just like we saw. That's kind of like a, I don't want to say a boring degen coin because it moves up a lot, but then it can just stagnate for a month or something. The other one that I'm invested into is TARS AI. I've talked about it a lot on the channel, but smallish AI token. They're around 200 million last time I checked. Obviously, AI is a huge narrative for this next bull run. They've been getting a lot of usage, a lot of queries. So I think they're going to continue to make waves. And these AI tokens, I think, are going to pump really hard later in the bull run, like in that last stage where people are trying to take profit from bigger cap and make like their final push. I think we could easily see some of these tokens going up 30%, then 30%, then 30%, like all in a couple days. You have to be careful of those because people get greedy and they don't want to miss that last 30% run, and then they inevitably drop. So you have to be willing to take profits on these smaller cryptos. But yeah, I think that's enough from my side. I want to hear your picks, Connor. What are some of your large, mid, small cryptos?
Yeah, it's really awesome because like you just stole all of my coins, so that's great. But I do love the points of Bitcoin. I think everyone always wants to have the glitz and the glamour of the altcoins, but even up until this point, if you had just invested into Bitcoin, you'd be better off right now, even on this pullback, than pretty much the majority of altcoins, unless you outperform the market, which is hard to do, right? So, of course, my number one holding is still Bitcoin. It will probably always be Bitcoin. Now, we've spoken about this on the channel before about selling our Bitcoin, and you know, like you mentioned, the troubles that have been going on with property and stuff recently. Like the more of stuff like this happens, like I'm definitely diversified into property and into stocks, but the more these things happen and the more I think about it, I'm just like, you know, with the advent of the Bitcoin ETF, especially, do you know what I mean? So you don't actually need, because, you know, the one issue with Bitcoin is the self-custody. It is a concern to hold, you know, your net worth yourself, right? I know a lot of people love it, but also there's some worrying sides to that. So with the advent of ETFs, you know, with the way it grows and what we're seeing, it still is an incredible asset that I'm going to hold the majority of my holdings in, I would say forever, until I start getting loans against it to buy other things, you know, that sort of stuff. So, you know, I'm still very heavy in Bitcoin. Recently, the WEEX token did get to be one of my larger holdings because it went up 2x. And I've been talking about on the channel, I've been buying it because of the fact that it's so small in comparison to the likes of BitGet. But I won't bore you on that because we've already spoken about it. One coin that I've been, it's one of my largest holdings because of how early I bought it. But it's called Moonwell. It's a DeFi platform on the Base ecosystem. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Base ecosystem right now. You know, we're seeing Ethereum do nothing, and we are seeing a lot of TVL and a lot of transactions happening on the L2s, and I think that's going to continue to grow. I do think Ethereum's going to see growth, but I think the L2s are going to be really where it is. A lot of the transactions and a lot of the TVL is going to go, and especially in L2 that it has the door open to the institutions, right? Because Coinbase is layer 2. They have the door open to BlackRock, to everyone. So why wouldn't there, if there was all of these big things that happen, why wouldn't some of that or a lot of it happen on the base chain? That's my question, right? So my exposure to the base chain, as you can't buy, there's no base token. And of course, Moonwell isn't, you know, a substitute for, you know, the Arbitrum or the Ethereum or the, you know, whatever the gas token, but it is where you know, the bank of Base, or, you know, where people might store their money to get loans, like Aave, right? So if we see a massive move to Base, I think this stands to be a project that really, really benefits from that, considering Aave in the billions, and this is in, you know, just above 100 million. I think the upside is absolutely huge potentially for that. Now, caveat, I brought this to the channel, I think it was a $5 million market cap, so it's significantly up. And, you know, I've already taken some profits. Since then, it's pulled back. And I'm actually considering rebuying because I took profits when everyone was euphoric, right? Because that's my strategy. Now, you didn't mention Casper, thankfully. Casper is on about a 50% pullback. So I think Casper is a great opportunity right now. I'm dollar cost averaging into it. I'm building my position right now. So it would be a 2x, you know, I'd get a 100% move for it to just go back to where it used to be. And if you go and look at 2024 or 2023, I'm not sure which one the biggest one was, but if you look at Casper, you'll see it's like one of the biggest bubbles, right? If you look at the bubble chart. I don't think that that's going to be forgotten. I think right now people have left, right? The bees have left. Everyone's got bored of it and they've gone somewhere else. Where have they gone? Sui. Everyone's buying Sui at $5, and most people I think are now dumping. People who bought Casper at 20 cents are now dumping it. That's why it's staying down, because there's sell pressure. Every time we pump, there's sell pressure, right? But this is going to subside when the market gets bullish again, in my opinion. And then Casper, at least to its old all-time highs, that would give me a 2x. So if I can build a large position now, I get a 2x. I can then sell half the position, and then I can just ride the rest, and I have all of that cash back. So that's sort of like the safe play, not safe, you know what I mean? Like that's sort of like my less risky play that I'm doing. And then as we've been talking a lot about Sui, I might as well just bring up Lofi, which is the meme coin. I'm pretty sure it's still the largest meme coin on Sui. We've been in it on the channel since 40 million. We bought it again at 20 million, and it's now 130, 140 million. And I think that could be, you know, one of the leading meme coins in general, right? Because every chain has its leading meme coin, right? So we have Lofi on Sui, and then I also have a position, while we're talking about memes, in Kokinu. Now, lots of people, basically everyone has stopped talking about it because there's nothing happening on AVAX. But I think that once AVAX pumps, which it will, if we get a bull run, or, you know, the next leg of the bull run, it's still an if, right? Some people think it's over, some people think it's guaranteed. I sit on the middle. I think that, you know, maybe we did already have our highs, and, you know, maybe there's not going to be, for the altcoins, maybe it's not going to go as crazy as people think. But if it does, I'm positioned for that to happen. If it doesn't, I'm very heavy in Bitcoin, which I do think is going to continue to grow. But I think AVAX will pump. And when AVAX pumps, the flagship meme coin on AVAX will pump. Just like when Sui pumps, the flagship meme coin on Sui is going to pump. Just like, you know, Pepe and all of these others on the different chains. So yeah, those are my picks, I'd say.
I have a video coming out on Lofi as well this week. A couple of things that you said there that I want to just double click on. You mentioned that you're dollar cost averaging into some cryptos, and that you're also taking profits. So like when you dollar cost average into a crypto, are you putting new money into the market at this late stage, or are you just kind of taking profits, then reinvesting it in other places? And then two, I forgot. I'll get back to that one.
I'm not putting any new money into the market because I don't really take money out of the market entirely right now. So, for example, Moonwell, I sold a significant portion, and it's down about 50% from where I sold it. And so I have that cash, right? So I can reinvest at less. I can buy all of my tokens back, right, for less than I sold them for, and still have more money. So then I move that money to things that have pulled back. And I think the mindset of most people in this market is, you know, I get a lot of comments like, oh, Connor, should I sell Casper and buy Sui? No, like I only hold Casper and Sui because I've done my research into both of them. I like both of them, right? And just because one of them is pumping doesn't mean the other one has changed in any way. Now, if that other one does change in some way, then yeah, sell it, like whatever it might be. But if you're only selling it because one price hasn't moved and the other one's gone up loads, you don't want to chase this pump by selling this one, right? That would be the most insane thing to do. If anything, you want to sell this one and buy your other one. Now, I'm not telling you to sell Sui and buy Casper. No, that's not what I'm saying. But, you know, you might want to take profits from your portfolio that's already gone up and buy the ones that haven't gone up. A great example was WEEX, right? WEEX did nothing at all. I think I talked about it 2-3 months ago. I made about 4 different of these top coins videos where I spoke about it, and I was just buying it, right? I'm just buying it. It's doing nothing. In fact, it went down a little bit. I'm buying it. And then all of a sudden yesterday, someone messaged me like, bro, have you seen WEEX? And it's up 100%. So like, that's what I'm looking for, right? I don't want to be buying the coins that have already pumped loads. Unless it's like Sui and it has a big pullback and it's down at support, right? Because that's where people who bought it at the last high are going to be selling it. So I'm going to be buying their tokens.
Yeah, I'm taking a similar approach. Like I invested most in the bear market and then the beginning of last year as well. And now I'm just trading. Like that's what I'm doing to reposition myself if I'm under allocated. I felt like I was under allocated to XRP. So I opened some positions, which can get you access to capital a lot faster. And then you can kind of shift around if you want to be a little bit more aggressive. Obviously, we didn't talk about XRP there, but we also didn't like really talk about large caps outside of Bitcoin. XRP, obviously, it did a 500% move recently, but also like some of these, I think, older layer ones are interesting ahead of the Trump inauguration, since they're meeting with Trump, and there's a narrative there. And I think people need to realize too, like, while we're investing in Bitcoin because we want to hold it for 5-10 years, maybe more, like these altcoins are nothing to me. Like I'm not married to them. I'm going to sell them. And,
I think this is the key to, because I do my low leverage strategy, right? So I do very rarely now. Before, you know, I told you when we're in a big pullback, right? Yeah, I might do 100x long for a little gamble. But right now, while we're already euphoric, right, overall doing 3x, and I would rather buy XRP, Casper, Cardano, HBAR, Flare, all of these things, 1 inch. These are all positions that I've opened recently, and I'm adding to on the pullbacks. I'd rather invest into those or trade those with 3x leverage, right? Because if XRP then does a 3x from here, and it goes to $7.50, and that's the high, right? 3x times 3, I get a 9x. That's what I'm looking for, and everyone's looking for in these baby coins, right? But they're so much higher risk. I think there's more chance of me hitting a 9x on one of those coins I just mentioned than there is for me to go and find a 10x or a 9x, right? A 10x for argument's sake, out there in the wilderness, right? Yeah. And then also sell it. So the key in my head is, you know, when I see these positions up, like my SUI position, right? It's up however many 100%, right? It's 500-600%. I see the profit, right? Because when you have a spot bag, you don't really trade it in the same way, right? Because you know, you own the asset. You're like, I don't want to sell that. Whereas on my 3x leverages, I see it. Cool, today I take $1,000, and I do that on my channel. You know, every day I log in, I show the trades. This is what I'm thinking. Oh, perfect. Sui's got, you know, X amount of profit. I'll just take out $1,000. Oh, Ethereum's got a bit of profit. Take out $1,000, and you're much less inclined to hold, right? And I don't think holding for the long term in the positions that we're buying now is really the way forward, because we'll most likely go lower in a lot of things.
Yeah, I agree. I've been taking the same approach. I've been doing these low leverage longs since the ETFs were getting approved. So I had some positions that were open like in the 40,000s. I have a couple that were open last summer from $55,000 Bitcoin. And people say that they're so risky, you should never talk about leverage. And I say I think these are less risky than investing in the 100th largest crypto. And it's way easier to take profits, like you said. But yeah, and it's crazy to think if you do a 3x on XRP, as long as you don't get liquidated, let's say it does go up 3x, like you said, and you get a 9x, that's the equivalent of buying it at like under $1. Like if you can just not get liquidated, it's almost like you can turn back time and get in earlier. Is how it works out. But yeah, I think we were both doing that. I know you, I think you use a little bit more of your portfolio to leverage trade too, but we're also not talking about using 20% of our crypto portfolios to leverage trade. Like this is what you do with a couple percent, try to turn to 5 or 10, 15% of your portfolio or something. But yeah, Connor, thanks so much for talking. I think we went through maybe like 15 or 20 cryptos there. Yeah. Any closing thoughts?
Just zoom out and chill out. Don't panic when the market crashes, right? That's when we want to be positioning ourselves. If you're bullish on something when it's pumping, be bullish on it when it dumps, right? Don't just follow the crowd.
Yeah. I don't think we haven't talked as much recently, but it's so funny as people that have been around in crypto for a while, like think about the FUD that's come out over the last couple of weeks that's pushed down the market. It's like all the normal FUD. Like how stupid is that? That's Tether. It's
like a crash.
Yeah. The US government, like it's just the normal stuff. So if you've been through a bear market, like this is almost funny. I found it funny that we were seeing a pullback and people were worried about the same things, but
yeah, totally. China's going to ban crypto soon. Russia's going to ban crypto soon. Then we're going to,
back and forth within days. But yeah, and ahead of the most bullish stuff, bullish pieces of news ever. So yeah. Connor, thanks so much. We're going to be posting this on both of our channels. I think we'll both plug each other underneath the video too, so you can follow each other, our other channels. Yeah, cool. I appreciate it. And we'll have to do this again soon.